Hey everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. In today's video we're looking at Zool and we are looking at Blackheart's Bay. I'm going to teach you three things hopefully in this video. Number one, kind of a rough guide on how to play Zool. Number two, how to play Blackheart's Bay. Number three, how to play Zool on Blackheart's Bay because it's quite a specific thing. It'll probably be a little bit salty in this video because I don't like Zool and I really don't like this map. It's one of the most complicated maps. I'd say actually in fact it quite possibly is the most complicated map in terms of strategies, or even that it's not complicated, but it's not very obvious how you're supposed to play this map, and in my experience the vast majority of players don't have a clue what they're doing on this map, and you're going to see that throughout this game. But essentially Zool on this map does a very specific thing, which is he soaks top and middle. The top and middle lane are extremely close together here on this particular map, and what that lets you do, because Zool's wave clear is so strong, and because he's very safe with his bone armor additional ability on his 1 key, what you can do is just rotate between those two lanes. And literally you're going to see me doing this for the first probably half of this video. It's going to be fairly boring actually, but that's Zool for you. Is literally just running between mid lane and top lane. Okay? Clear out the mid lane, cool. Run to top lane, clear it out. Clear the top lane, run to mid lane, clear it out, and just back and forth, back and forth. Not really interested in fighting the heroes, not really interested in actually, pushing down the structures. Just going between minion wave and just killing them and soaking them up. And that's literally all that your job is to do. And the reason this is so effective is because on this particular map, as you can see, those lanes are so close together, so the travel time is really short. And yeah, it's so difficult for the enemy team to deal with because, Zool, he's able to clear the lanes probably quicker or as quickly as nearly any hero. And then your trait, which spawns these additional little minions, as you can see right up here, I have two heroes, Lily and Vala, have to come up and have to deal with this wave that I've just pushed in. While they're dealing with it, I'm going to come down and clear out this mid one. So you can see here, like, my teammates don't have a clue what I'm doing. Lunara is just sitting here in lane with us. She's not adding anything really. And then Tracer's telling us to go down and solo the bottom lane. Potentially I could have soloed the bottom lane right at the start of the game. But I mean, I'm just sort of explaining here in the chat what I'm intending to do. You can do this on other heroes like Leoric or Johanna. There's a few heroes that kind of do similar things that are, just these safe duo soakers. But Zool is probably almost definitely the best one. But I mean, yeah, we're up here at the top, gonna clear this out. Lunara is dying, that's unfortunate. And once again, gonna run up top this time actually. I mean, you need to be a little bit careful because the enemy team could be here. But this basically, what this tactic does, what this strategy does, is it frees up the rest of your team to do whatever they want on the map, right? So if you're dealing with two lanes, then you've got 4 team members who can deal with bottom lane, they can deal with like all the merc camps, they can deal with the turn-in point, they can deal with a whole bunch of stuff. They don't need to be there. Tyrael actually comes in and kills Lunara, but luckily that means that we can kill Tyrael, and we actually get a couple of coins out of it, so that's a 1 trade for us. Not going to complain about that. And yeah, I'm going to clear this stuff out, so we're not going to miss out on any XP so, because I'm going to get it all. Easy peasy. Whereas the enemy team may miss out on some of it. But I mean, right now, as you can see, they've got a Lily up here, they've got a Greymane up here, and while they're doing that, it's literally just me up here, dealing with both of these waves. I'm going to harass this Lily a little bit, just waiting for these waves to get to a bit of a safer place. And there you go. It's just very important while you're doing this, like, not to die, or at least, to make it really cost the enemy team in order to kill you. And just, as you can see, the wave clear is insane. I'm actually going to harass the Lily a little bit more here. But again, as you can see, I'm just mounting up and running away. I've got no desire to actually really fight her. I just want to keep her busy and stop her from actually clearing these waves. And yeah, just free my team up to do other stuff around the map. I mean, as you can see, again, Lunara is back up here. I mean, like I said in the chat, it's one of the things that is frustrating about this is, like I said in the chat, I'm going to solo the top 2 lanes. Lunara's decided not to follow that. She's just like, fuck it, I'm up here with you. Cool. So that's nice. She's actually going to die. Yeah, she's dead. So, I mean, that's nice. It's like, what can you do about it, though? Like, there's literally nothing you can do about this. It's just, just sit tight, chill, and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, you can't control what your teammates are doing. And if they're not going to play with your strategy, you're fucked. Basically you're fucked and there's nothing you can do, so just like grin and bear it basically. But yeah, anyway, here we go. We're fighting over this mid chest and looks like we should probably be able to grab this one. The enemy team is certainly looking to come in. I don't have my root on my E for a little while. There we go, finally get it up. And chase this Greymane a little bit. The Lily does help keep him alive. Lunara has reappeared. And there you go, gonna grab this chest. We get a bunch of coins, so we're happy enough to win that. We got all the coins we wanted. Happy days. Now, the cannons are firing in the middle, so I've got no real desire to go there and kind of waste a bunch of time actually just sitting, waiting for him to respawn. I'm gonna help clear out that lane instead, get my my trait, my little minions pushing, and then I'm gonna come up here and deal with this top lane. I mean, as you can see, it's a very boring way to play, but it's just super effective. It's incredibly effective, this particular tactic. It really makes life difficult for the enemy team, because they have to send so many heroes to deal with it. Now, admittedly, if Lunara was roaming, you'd get like a better sense of how this would work. The fact that she's been kind of sitting up here doesn't really illustrate the full potential of this, because again, like I said, I'd still be able to soak up these the minion waves, and we're not looking to actually push down the structures. We just want to grab those waves before they die to our turrets, which is very easy to do. So yeah, we would still be getting as much experience, and then they could get other kind of benefits around the map as that was going on. As you can see right there, actually, because just as I was kind of saying it and giving out, our team was doing exactly what I was talking about. They roam down as 4. They get a kill actually on the Vala. Now the enemy team has got, it looks like no one down the bottom lane getting XP there. Our teammates pick up the Merc camp as well. Unfortunately, Lunara's come back up top, but I suppose it's not terrible, seeing as it looks like the enemy team has 3 heroes up here. So it's actually pretty reasonable that she's reappeared at this stage. But I mean, there you go. I believe I do die up here at some stage, but you're going to see it's going to be like a pretty interesting little trade is kind of how that happens, how that goes down. So here we are, gonna just come up here and clear this out. Gonna grab skeletal mages in this. And yeah, I believe I die right about here. Yeah, so I die here. There's 3 enemy heroes still up here. I was actually kind of taken by surprise. So the enemy team does get a kill on me. However, because they invested so many heroes up here to deal with this, and it's actually good now that Lunara was here in the end, because now she's up here, we're still going to be able to get XP from the lane. So I think she took a weird talent at level 7, so maybe not, we'll see. But in theory, we should still be able to get XP from both of these lanes. And while that was happening, our teammates, because they sent 3 up top to kill me, they killed Lily down the bottom, and then they pushed down the bottom fort, which is just awesome. That's a huge deal. That's a really big victory. But as you can see, that top wave didn't actually reach our towers. We're actually going to get back by the time it does. And Lunara's getting the mid lane at the same time. So we didn't really miss out on much minion experience. But we got a huge lead by getting the just destroying their bottom fort entirely. That's pretty much worth an entire bombardment. So that's an absolutely massive deal. It's worth like a full turn in. So even though they did manage to kill me, and that kind of sucks, because you don't want to die, the kind of return damage our team got, because they had to invest so many resources in order to achieve that, won us kind of a bigger advantage, I would say. Now, it was a mistake, I think, in this game to pick up the Backlash. In hindsight, I definitely should have picked up Shade, just to be a bit more safer, a bit more survivable. We would have been okay. So this was a pretty nasty fight to pick. I'm not exactly sure what was going on here, but anyway, I was just going back to basically doing my my lane soaking, and that's all I want to do in this particular game. Actually, the Entomb coming down off the Oriole, maybe not the best idea. I think I would have been fine for a little bit longer, but we did get a nice burst of damage off on the enemy team, and our team is mopping up the kills. I was considering chasing Thrall here, but I didn't want to, for the simple reason that, well, if I chase the Thrall, he might get more chain lightning bounces if it bounces between Lunara and myself, and then therefore heal him. I think we might have even been able to kill the Lily if Lunara followed, but she decided to Hearthstone. That's not too bad though. And yeah, just going back to my lane clearing ways here. So yeah, I should have picked up Shade at level 1. I think it was a mistake. As you can see, Backlash is going to be pretty effective here. It does a nice chunk of damage to Greymane and just scares him off. Level 4 and level 7, I pick up the talents for the trait. So I think Tragul's Essence and Rathma's Blessing. So every time we summon a little skeleton warrior, we're going to get a little bit of mana, and then a nice little decent chunk of health. So it's just going to give us just tons of survivability and sustainability, more importantly. So we're just going to be able to sit in these lanes all game long, just back and forth, getting 2 waves of healing, 2 waves of mana return, just 2 waves of everything, and it's going to be fantastic. There's no way the enemy team is going to be able to get rid of us. And as you can see, between us like kind of winning the map, because we've got more heroes free to deal with the map, and between me soaking these 2 lanes, we're now 2 levels up, or well, 1.5 levels up, almost 2 levels up. And yeah, we're really dominating here. In fact, we're getting damage down on the enemy team's keep, and we still have all of our forts up. And a huge part of that is because Zool things. It's just Zool things. This is what you do. Level 13, I actually feel like I also made mistakes with talent choices, level 13 and 16. I actually went into, this is because I don't play Zool very often. I don't like him. I picked up the talents for my trait at level 13 and 16 as well. We haven't got to 16 yet, but you'll see. So 13 I picked up the corpse explosion, and level 16 I picked up the skeletal mastery. I think this was a mistake. But at this point as well, you can see Lunara's heart thing. I think she was on half-life. I really disagree with that decision. I run into that like a complete idiot. That was really bad. But yeah, I felt like we had a pretty decent pick opportunity here. We could see the enemy team was coming in, and our teammates were all nearby. Now, unfortunately, we do lose that fight pretty horribly. I was kind of assuming that Lunara would stay, and it was my mistake for engaging a fight right there when she was actually just heartstoning. But yeah, I was expecting her to be there. I mean, like, half health on Lunara when you've got a support. I was like, you don't really need to go back. But I suppose with Oriel, it's a bit more difficult to sustain people outside of the lane. So that's kind of fair enough. I should have recognized that and backed off. But yeah, I kind of felt like it was a decent opportunity to catch the enemy team as they were kind of rotating in panic towards that the turn-in point, and we could have maybe got a pick there and got a bit of a win for ourselves. So it didn't really work out too well, but oh well. Yeah, I picked up Skeleton Mastery. I don't like these talents because they're more for pushing lanes, and again, crucially, we're not trying to actually push the lanes very much with Zool right here. Like, we're trying to push the lanes, but not the structures, right? We're not actually intending to be destroying either of those keeps as Zool. We just want to keep these lanes cleared, and certainly these talents do help that, but I think I could have at this point transitioned into something a bit more useful, like Decrepify at level 13 for some slows during the team fights would have been pretty nice, or then maybe the amplified damage, like the vulnerability on Bone Prison. That would be nice as well. So again, our team made a similar mistake, but this time it was me who wasn't there. I did ping it though in advance, and it was the correct decision at the same time to go up here. It's unfortunate that our teammates were fighting over that, but the enemy team had such a large push up top. It's, well, first and foremost, it's a big chunk of experience, but that's also a ton of structural damage that would have gotten done, which would have been worth, you know, pretty much a full turn in and of itself if it destroyed, got to our fort and managed to take down the fort. So I mean, basically what you want to be doing is, you know, stalling it out as 4 people using defender's advantage with your fort to keep safe right there while I push out these lanes. And again, like if they're stalling 4v5 down the bottom half of the map and I'm being able to do Zool things in 2 lanes, then we're going to be winning that fight sort of slowly but surely. It's one of the things about this map, and you're going to see this come out hugely as we go into this sort of the late game right here, is on Blackheart's Bay, it's like you can win the game without needing to fight. Like if you don't need to fight, you can just wreck the game nonetheless. You see, actually nice play by the Lily right there, I have to say. Very well played, nice cleanse, and actually a very nice little bone or crystal aegis coming out from the Oriel, which temporarily saved Tracer. She did still die, but still that has allowed us to win this fight. As you can see, the enemy team, they're 3 dead. In fact, now make that 4 and make that 5, so really, really nice. Again, very similar to the first sort of situation I was talking about. We kind of caught the enemy team out of position. It was a beautiful cleanse by the Lily, which almost helped Greymane survive. But once again, they were out of position, trying to push into this center area, and we got to make a huge play here. Everyone is freaking out Lunara because she has the 1 final coin we need for a turn-in, but she's going to the boss instead. Which is stupid. So I didn't expect to be picking on Lunara this much in this video, but I really am. But I mean, that is a really bad play. It's like, your teammates are turning in. Are you going to be able to start the boss without them there? No, you're going to take too much damage. So you're waiting for your teammates to come anyway. So why would you not go and actually turn in at that point in the game? It's like, you just wasted a bunch of time running to top. Like, why not go with your teammates, turn in while they're turning in, and then run top with them? You're going to be starting the boss at the same time anyway, but then you'll also get a turn in, which will get a keep down and then get more catapults pushing. So why are you doing that? It doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of unfortunate. Right here, this is going to be a pretty crazy fight as well. I did pick up Skeletal Mages as well, and I think this is a pretty nice choice. Okay, it's not going to be a crazy fight, it's just going to be a pick. But there you go, I really like the Skeletal Mages. Especially, I didn't like Poison Nova against the enemy team because they have Ethereal. They are very melee stacked, which would normally be a great opportunity for Poison Nova. However, the Ethereal Sanctification completely protects them from it. So I decided to go for these Skeletal Mages instead. It's just really nice team fight control. It's nice zoning. The slows are really useful as well. And you can split the enemy team in half. It can make it really difficult for Lily to come in and try to protect people. Anyway, here we go. And this is going to be an example of... We start this off really well, but then it's going to become like a really good example of picking a fight, a losing fight when you don't need to. So the final keep is down. The enemy team is now down 3 keeps. We're almost about to hit level 20. Don't have my heroic. I'm just saying my team like, okay, don't have this for 20 seconds, guys. I'm kind of mounted up. I'm trying to run away. But Muradin is kind of going in here. He actually almost dies straight away. We hit level 20, but he's almost dead. Now we have engaged, but we're fighting under core. And the core is doing a huge amount of damage. I run forwards, trying to slow down the Vala, trying to do something. I just get picked off, and we get absolutely wrecked. The Vala does eventually die. But we're down 2 heroes. The enemy team is only down 1. In fact, make it down 3 to 1. Going to be 4 to 1 now. This Muradin is dead. And yeah, there you go. So that's an example of exactly how not to play Blackheart's Bay. And it's one of the things, it's one of the reasons why I say this is such a bad map. It's because the way that you're taught to play Heroes of the Storm is the way you're not supposed to play Blackheart's Bay. This is, you win this map by getting a little bit of ahead and then never fighting a losing fight. You just, whenever you're going to be in a losing fight, you just run away. You just farm your side of the map, you farm your coins, you collect your coins, you just get map pressure, and then and only when you're in a position to actually fight and win, do you take that fight. And once one team gets ahead and does that correctly, you can just snowball the game and there's nothing you do to respond. You can see the reason now that this is kind of turned around, it's kind of even, now we're still well ahead, but the reason that the enemy team kind of had a little bit of a comeback here is because there was no reason to fight right there. We took out their keep. We were about to hit level 20. At that point, we could have stuck around. Like, we could push the siege. That's what Muradin was trying to do, is to push those siege things onto the core and try to win the game. But it's like, do we need to win the game at this point? No. What's the smart thing to do? Well, it's Blackheart's Bay. The smart thing to do is just to run away, farm up all the merc camps, get the merc camps pushing. Then while they're dealing with all these lanes pushing with merc camps and catapults, we just go turn in the coins. We get a full turn in. We win the game. GG. Well played. Easy win. There's absolutely nothing the enemy team can do because there's too much map pressure for them to actually do this. This is going to be another example of a really bad thing. So I'm saying, look, they go boss, we go core. So you see the enemy team is going for the boss, throwing in the Skeletal Mages. Alright, the whole enemy team is here. I'm just going to do a little bit of poke damage and let's run away at this point. So you can see I'm kind of like running back and back, just like, okay, let's get out here, let's get out, let's get out. But Muradin is going in, he is going ham at this point. The whole enemy team, we're kind of trying to come in here and trying to make something happen because he's engaging this fight. But at this stage you have to ask again, why are we picking this fight right here? Why are we going in? Once again, we're fighting under core. Just burned one of my heroics to catch him out. What is the benefit of pushing in and fighting at this point? What do we gain from coming in and fighting at this point? It was, my call was correct in that, okay, they're going to boss, we just run to the core. They can't do the boss, so we ruined the enemy team, we stopped them doing the boss. Cool, they're all back at their core. We got all of our lanes pushing, we've got mercs coming in. At that point, burned a heroic, got some nice poke damage, we just back it off. We could run to boss and start doing the boss. Or we could just run back and, you know, farm up that bottom doubloon camp there in the bottom left, the bottom siege camp, we could take the bottom merc camp, steal their siege camp. We could do pretty much anything. It's just, you know, it's not fighting, not pushing the core, just like sitting back and passively farming is how you win this game. It's funny, it's going to be a sort of a way of playing you're going to be very familiar with if you played like League of Legends or like Dota or something. You know, this just farm phase, just farm to win, and a bit of a snooze fest, to be honest. But it goes fundamentally against like the Heroes of the Storm sort of design principles, which are objectives matter, you need to fight over objectives. Whereas in Blackheart's Bay, a lot of the time you can just be like, alright, cool, we'll let them get a turn in, not a big deal, it's too dangerous to fight. Tracer actually sneaking in and trying to steal some coins. But I mean, as you can see at the moment, like, even though we've been all, like, half of us have been dead for ages, Greymane was actually back at their core. Because they have to defend this, because they're down 3 keeps. It's like, how can you lose a game when you're down 3 keeps? It should be impossible. This looks like a pretty nice pick right here. But a big Sanctification comes out. We're all stacked up. This is looking pretty bad. Get hit by the Sunder. The enemy team comes in. We got too greedy right there. That's 3 people dead. There's going to be me dead as well. I think Muradin dies here, and then the enemy team is just going to push down our mid lane and take it. So I was so tilted. I was so frustrated after this game and pissed off. I was like, what a joke. This game was 100% won. But then, because basically I put a large finger there at Murden at the end of this game, picking 2 big fights. Not that one, I don't think. I didn't pay attention to who started that one. I think we all got greedy chasing. But the previous 2 fights, where we should have been winning this game just easily and steadily, instead of doing that, he picked a couple of fights right there. We lost both of the fights because he picked losing fights under the core instead of just backing off, getting the enemy team back at their core. They're stuck in their base and then just farming the map and winning the game just steadily, safely. No contest. Instead, picking losing fights 3 times in a row, lose every fight horribly, and bam, it goes from 3 keeps down against 3 keeps up on a huge map to actually losing the game. Really, really frustrating. Really frustrating. I picked up Raised Mages, I think it's called as well, level 20, which is the upgrade to Skeletal Mages. That was fairly decent. Bone Spear is also pretty good. The Raised Mages, we didn't really even see it doing anything good, because I don't think we even killed anyone while I was alive. So that sucks. It raises an extra mage when you kill someone. Thought it'd be pretty nice against like the melee stack here. Raising a mage in melee, pretty nice, and the extra slow would be really useful against the enemy team. But, oh well. There you go. We'll take a look at the stats here in a second as well. That's the talent build, but again, I do feel like I picked bad talents. I don't recommend the particular talents I picked up. Just, as you can see, I'm salty. You know, I'm salty when I start like criticizing my teammates' talent picks. So I was like, attack speed. You picked attack speed with like a Tracer, Lunara, Azul. Like that really doesn't work. That's a really bad choice. Like none of those heroes really benefit all that much from attack speed. It's like Lunara will get benefit more from the ability damage, as does Azul. And the Tracer attack speed doesn't really matter because it's more her reload speed that kind of affects her damage output. But anyway, I don't know. Very salty, very grumpy. But yeah, this map sucks. I hate this map so much. Oh, I hate this map so much. I hate this map more than Garden of Terror. I really dislike it very intensely. And it's like, because it just depends. It's like, do your teammates know to like play it passively? Like, are your teammates going to be smart about rotating and being like, oh yeah, we're a few men down, we'll give up an objective or we'll give up this fight and then we'll play the longer game? It's like, you know, I think on Dragonshire, for example, it's a bit more complicated. The rotations are more complex. Or Cursed Hollows, it's like that's also a pretty complex map in terms of your rotations and like when you take fights or what you're willing to trade or taking the bosses or baiting things in. There's a lot more complex stuff going on. I actually feel like in terms of like the sort of the tactics within the game, like Blackheart's Bay, when it's played properly, is fairly simple, but it's just the game knowledge of how to actually play the map isn't there. I mean, as you saw in that game, like, I'm going in to play Zul on Blackheart's Bay. I would consider it pretty self-evident, and certainly from Hero League. This was unranked draft, but certainly in my Hero League games, it's like it'd be really obvious what I'm going to do, and the team would just kind of know that and roll with it, unless you get like a really bad team, which this happens sometimes, because, you know, matchmaking. Sometimes you get better teams, sometimes you get worse teams. It can be frustrating with a worse team, but like in this game, you know, it's like Tracer's like, go solo bottom. It's like, that's not what Zul does on Blackheart's Bay. And then Lunara, even after I'm saying like, okay, I'm going to solo the top 2 lanes. You guys go do whatever you want on the map. Like destroy bottom lane, invade their camps, steal their camps, you know, rotate up and gank them if they're like pushing me in really hard. You know, you guys are free to just own this map as 4 people. And it's like Lunara's just going to sit there and not really do anything much. And that's frustrating. I mean, as you can see by here, by the way, like we have 18,000 experience. Everyone else on our team is like 10k, 9k. So that's pretty much what you'd expect with Zul. It is a boring way to play, but it's super effective. But I mean, it's one of the things. It's like if your teammates don't know what you're doing, if they don't understand the tactic, then you're kind of fucked. And I mean, you can type it in and explain it, but it's pretty tedious. I don't know. I didn't bother. I already find it tedious enough to play Zul and to play this map. I was like, I don't want any more tedium here. It's like, please just do it. Just know it. But anyway, super salty video. Hope you guys enjoy a super salty video from time to time. Hopefully they remove this map from the rotation soon. It sucks balls. This map sucks. And with a few new maps coming in, hopefully they will get rid of it. They can dump this one in Garden of Terror, and I don't think many people will complain that much. But yeah, I mean, there you go. That's Blackheart's Bay. That's how you particularly play Zul. You can do this with Leoric. He's also good at it, but not as good as what Zul's doing. It's like he clears the waves, but slower, and then he also doesn't have minions pushing them in. But he's got a similar sort of level of survivability. In fact, he might be even more survivable, and he's got nice sustain as well. So you can do this with Leoric. You can do it with Johanna. You could do it with Jaina. I mean, there's a lot of heroes you can do it with. You have to obviously spec certain ways. Like you might want to grab Arcane Intellect with Jaina so you can actually sustain your mana through clearing 2 waves over and over again, something like that. But yeah, it's super effective if you can solo 2 lanes. which you can do in Blackheart's Bay, then your teammates can crush the map and you should win. Unfortunately, as you saw, it did end up working for the first half of this game really well. But then once we got into late game, it's like picking really bad team fights and losing really bad team fights really cost us. Would have gone a little bit better if I'd picked better talents. Ones that fit, like if I'd had Shade for more protection, would have been more survivable. The backlash didn't really get much value, definitely a mistake. And then getting maybe a couple more team fighting talents as opposed to the lane pushing talents at 13, 16 would have been better. But oh well, there you go. I mean, well played for the enemy team for actually managing to come back in that game. But we threw that. Like, there was definitely a throw, and hopefully it was interesting for you guys to kind of see that in action. How to lose a game when you're up 3 keeps. Oh my god. Anyway, guys, give it a like if you learned something. Give it a like if you like salty videos from time to time. I obviously won't do these all the time, but I think from time to time a good ranty video is worthwhile and enjoyable. So there you go, guys. I'll see you all next time for more non-salty Heroes of the Storm. Bye bye.